What's poppin', y'all? It's your girl Bajaa Lyte, and you already know I'm just coming to spread a little light. In this episode of Journey of Bajaa Lyte TV, we will be discussing setting boundaries. So, if you haven't already, get your candles, get your incense, get your Palo Santo, sage your space, get you something to drink. I do have me some water, as well as a little drinky drink. Gotta have that balance, you know. So as I mentioned, we will be talking about setting boundaries, so let's get into it. Alrighty, so this is one of the topics that I struggle with the most, and when I talk to the people closest to me, it's something that we all struggle with, and it's one of those things that we weren't taught. Like, we weren't taught how to appropriately and firmly set boundaries for not only ourselves but for the people around us. And I realized that when you don't have boundaries, it's open room. It's nothing but space and opportunity for you to be taken advantage of and walked all over, because you don't have the willpower to say, I'm not tolerating this. This is disrespectful. I don't appreciate this. I don't want to, and no. And you just don't know how to stand up for yourself within yourself. And that's something, as I've been on my journey of self-love, healing, and awareness that I've been battling with. It's something that, as I've been transforming into practicing my divine feminine energy, it's something that I have been coming to terms with. And as I've been reflecting and learning and listening to the universe and my spirit guides, this is the information that came to me and that I wanted to share. So, a boundary is a line that marks the limit of an area dividing. It's a dividing line. And as y'all know, I have my journal, so I'm just going to be reading some of my notes from this journal of mine. And so, yeah, like I mentioned, it says a boundary is a line that marks the limit of an area, meaning it sets parameters around an area or a space. It's a dividing line. And I also wrote, when there's a lack of boundaries, there's a lack of respect. When I realized, as I reflect back on my life up until this point, the only reason why I've been in some of the altercations and situations that I have been in, because I didn't know how to set boundaries for myself. I didn't know how to say, hey, I don't appreciate being treated this way, so excuse me, I'm not gonna let you treat me this way. I didn't know how to say that because I didn't even have boundaries for my own self, you know? So yeah, I wasn't able to create limitations for my own self, let alone creating those limitations for other people, and that's something we're gonna dive a little deeper into a little later in the video. But yeah, so I had to just get to be open with myself and honest with myself, and get to the root of why is it hard for me to set these boundaries for myself, to set boundaries for other people, and not allow them to walk all over me. And creating boundaries does not mean that I don't love myself, or I don't love you, or that I'm not a nice person, or that I'm not a loyal person, or a trustworthy person, or a reliable person. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means that I know and I value self-preservation, and I understand that in order for me to be able to be the best that I can be for you, I have to be able to be the best that I can be for me. And so by doing this, create boundaries, honey. You gotta create them boundaries, okay? So it says, when we don't identify where our boundaries begin and end, we put ourselves in the position to compromise, sometimes jeopardize what's rightfully ours. And that's pretty self-explanatory. If you never mark where the boundary begins or ends, then it's a free-for-all. it's a free for all. I can do whatever I please because there's no rules, there's no limitations, there's no regulations. It doesn't exist. Think about, it's just like how kids act when a substitute teacher comes. It's like, oh, you about to cut up. You are about to cut up when there's a substitute. First of all, we don't even have assigned seats. What are you talking about? I sit right here next to my friend. She allows me to get up and walk in and out the classroom as she please. I'm allowed to eat my hot Cheetos. I'm allowed to pop my gum. She said it's okay if we listen to her music. Like, all grounds are off when the substitute comes. You feel me? That's the same way it is when you don't have boundaries for yourself. Plain and simple, honey. It says, not only did I not understand / comprehend the importance of boundaries, but I damn sure had no clue how to implement them into my relationship. And as a result, I was suffering. And that's facts. Like, I definitely was suffering because I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I didn't know how to say, hey, bro, like, I don't know what you thought, but this ain't that, and that ain't this. I didn't know how to say that. I didn't know how to say that, especially to my family or the people closest to me. I didn't know how to say that, especially because me growing up the oldest, and this is why you have to be aware. That's why I say practice awareness. You feel me? You have to be aware of your childhood and your triggers and your traumas, because you'll see how it's perpetuated into your future. So when I was growing up, I was the oldest child of a single parent, and it was 4 of us. And so in order to make it easier for my mom, I just stepped up to the plate and I just like got in where I fit in and tried to help out as best as I can. So I tried to help out as best as I can. I tried to, whatever way that I could accommodate my mom and make the situation a little bit easier, I would. Even if I didn't want to, even if it was too much for me, even if I was the only one doing it by myself, even if, yeah, all of that stuff. Like, I just picked up, I put more on my plate than sometimes I wanted to. And so that enabled me to condition myself that that's how I have to navigate through life for everybody across the board. And so I always found myself in these relationships or these situationships with friends and spouses where I'm overextending myself because I want to make the other person happy. And when you do that, you get taken advantage of. Like, nobody is going to respect somebody that doesn't have a backbone. Nobody is going to respect somebody that's not convicted in themselves. And so because the heartbreak that I have experienced from these experiences, I just wanted to come to you guys and share you guys what I have learned about boundaries. And I'm not a master of it, but I am getting the hang of it. So I'm going to just go ahead and share some of the notes that I've taken, and let's get into it. So we have 1. What are your values and what are your principles? I talked to you guys about this before. These questions you need to know about yourself. Like, you want to know the latest facts about Megan Thee Stallion, Lori Harvey, Drake, Jay-Z, Obama, coronavirus. Like, you want to know all the information about everything, but you don't even know your own values. You don't even know your own principles. You don't even know where your boundaries begin and end. This is a no-go. 2020, this is, say it ain't so. We ain't doing this no more, okay? Like, you gotta know your values and your principles. That's the start. If you want to know where to start right there. So for me, some of my values are respect, self-preservation, love, transparency. Like, these are some of my values. It's very, very small, we could get into them in another video, but off the top of my dome, these are some of my values. Integrity. And these are some of the key elements of my life. That's how I conduct myself throughout my day. And so because I conduct myself in this way, I expect the people in my vicinity to conduct themselves in the same way, especially if you want to deal with me. Okay, because I'm a high value woman. Hello, I'm a high value woman. So if you want to get on my level, you have to approach me with that same respect and honesty that I'm going to give back for you. And that's where you start with your boundaries. Anything that's not aligned with your core values, you can go ahead and kick it to the curb, because there's no room. There's no room for you if you're not going to practice integrity. There's no room for you in my space. In my notes, I say, when we have a clear analysis of our values and principles, it is much easier to analyze what is and isn't for us based off of our personal values. This step allows us to clearly remove anything, behaviors, or people that don't align with our values and principles. Whatever doesn't align with our core values gotta go. And I feel like that's pretty simple. Like, if it doesn't align, it gotta go. And that goes for your own self, your own behaviors, your own thoughts, the people around you, your mama, your daddy, your cousin. It don't matter. If they're not in line with your principles and your values, it gotta go. And then the next step would be to be transparent, to be honest and vulnerable with yourself and other people about what you will and won't tolerate in your life. Okay, this is a key element of being convicted in yourself. Is a key element of having those setting boundaries and creating parameters for your relationships. You have to be able to be honest and vulnerable about how you feel. Okay? And that's for within yourself and with other people's. First, if you're able to practice it with yourself, then it will be a breeze to practice it with other people and say, hey, I thought about it, and when you crack jokes about the way I talk, it makes me feel uncomfortable, and so I decided that I don't want that energy around me anymore. So either you are gonna discontinue making those jokes, or we just won't have to be friends anymore. You feel me? Hey, I don't like when you gossip about other people around me. I had to practice this actually at work the other day, and one of my co-workers called herself about to start gossiping, and normally I would just indulge just for the sake of fitting in, not being an outsider, just for the sake of dimming my light, because that's my comfort zone. And I was actually proud of myself, because I told her, well, I was like, that's none of my business, and I don't really care to gossip about people. And she was just looking at me like, okay. And she just left out the break room. But I felt at ease and I felt at peace knowing that I'm not sitting here being a chatty patty talking about somebody that A, is not paying my bills, B, can care less about me, C, ain't doing nothing for what I got going on. Like, this conversation is irrelevant, and so I'm gonna let you know that, hey, for future notice, don't come to me with that, because I don't want to indulge in that. You feel me? And that's a boundary that I had to set for myself, and now she knows Beja ain't with that. Go to Veronica, Amber, Chelsea, go to them, but don't come to Beja, because I don't have the space. Okay, your girl's over here, I got all this to work on. I have no space for nobody else gossip or drama. You feel me? Look at this vision board. I don't have time. So you have to be able to set those boundaries for yourself. And trust me, that is the most terrifying thing, but it's so beautiful once you do, because you kicking away people that have no reason or to be in your space. The only people that started getting upset and falling off from my journey once I started setting boundaries for myself is people that was never really team Beja. Because if you're team Beja, or if you team you, whoever's watching this video, then you will have the people around you will respect you creating those parameters for yourself. My honey does not mind when I tell him a new boundary that I have created for myself. His mantra is honor yourself always. His mantra is honor yourself always. So he appreciates and respects when I create those boundaries for myself, as well as I appreciate and respect when he creates those boundaries for himself. That's the type of relationship you want to be in, whether it's with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mama, your daddy, your cousin, your friend, whoever it may be. You want that person to honor you, honoring yourself. Okay? So we're just going to go ahead and move on to the next one, which is number 3. Be convicted in your truth. Okay? You have to be convicted in your truth. If you don't know what that means, it means that you're grounded in who you are and your beliefs, your principles, your feelings, your emotions. You are grounded in it. You practice awareness, you practice emotional intelligence, and you are willing to deconstruct and reconstruct yourself for the greater value of you and the people around you. So when you're convicted in your truth, they can't come to you and shake the table. They can't come to you and do that because you're already aware of how you can and can't improve yourself. And so I have in my notes, become grounded in your truth, become resourceful about your truth, align yourself with energy synchronized with yours through relationship, friendships, YouTube videos, podcasts, books, walks in the park. All of these different things to align your energy to be convicted in your truth is a must. Okay? It's a must. It's literally like a must if you're gonna be successful on your journey. If you're going to be successful in your journey of self-love, healing, and awareness, you need to align your energies, okay? And then we have 4, discipline. Discipline your mother-loving self. Discipline your mother-loving self. If you cannot discipline yourself, we can't talk no more. End of discussion. Cut the camera. The show's over if you don't have discipline for yourself. Because if you can't discipline your own self, if you can't create boundaries and limitations for your own self, how are you going to expect yourself to be able to create those same boundaries and parameters for the people around you? Or when your kids come, how would you be able to create those boundaries for them? You don't know how to do it for your own damn self. So it's like that's where you need to start, okay? Get you some discipline, okay? I had to understand that. Like, how are you going to expect your brother to honor and trust your values when you don't honor and trust your values? How are you going to require this treatment for someone that you don't even do the same thing for yourself? People are not going to respect you if you don't respect yourself. So you have to make that a must, that you put yourself first, that you take care of yourself, that you honor yourself, that you value yourself. All of these things, all are virtues in the life of the journey, in the life of the spiritual gangster, in the life of the light spreader. Okay? You have to be able to discipline yourself. So when I was on my desert practice, I was not watching YouTube videos. I wasn't listening to music. I was only drinking water. I was no sweets. I was creating those boundaries and limitations for myself, so I will learn how to strengthen that ability to do it to the people around me. And then I don't have to feel taken advantage of or taken for granted, because I don't have to worry about you being the one to take care of me, because I'm already on it. I'm already on it. You're next. Either you're going to fall in line or you're going to get left. That's just how it's going to go. Because I have discipline. Because I know my values. Because I'm convicted in my truth. Because I just want to set those boundaries. You feel me? I'm trying to live my life glowing and flowing and all of that good stuff. So, last but not least, it's a journey. You're not going to learn it tomorrow. Even if you take all these tips and you start applying it tomorrow, you're not going to master it tomorrow. It's a day by day process, and it's all about progression. It starts by that first time that you say no. It starts by that first time you tell your coworker not to gossip with you. It starts by the first time you tell your mom that you're not able to do something for her because you have to tend to yourself. It starts one step at a time, and the more practice that you get, the stronger that you get, and it becomes a breeze for you, you know. But one thing is for certain: do not call yourself navigating through this life without having boundaries for yourself. I shared with you guys some of the tips that I've had to learn through experiences of how I'm learning how to develop the boundaries for myself so I can live my best life. So I hope that these work for you. I hope that you're able to let them apply to you in the way that you can. If you have any other tips that you would like to share, you already know you can just either slide in my DMs or just hit me in the comment section, or you can meet me at journeeofBajalyte.com and we can have a conversation. Peace and light. It's been your girl Bajaa Lyte, and holla.